Today, let's take a look at firm culture. Have you ever worked at a place where they describe the business as family-like? They might say something like, we're all family around here. Everyone gets on great. And I think that's to be celebrated. If you've created a culture where people really care about each other, where everyone gets on pretty well, where it enables better workflow, more teamwork, more collaboration, provides more comfort for team members, knowing that the environment feels safe, that's a great thing. But it's a great thing until it's not a great thing. So this we see often in business, but amongst advisory firms, I think it becomes pretty common by nature of being smaller businesses. Many are really mature. They've been around a long time and they've got team members that have been with them for a long time. And it tends to be that over the years, you'll become more and more familiar. Now, the downside that we see in these businesses is that it becomes very difficult to then toe the line. So if performance is not where it needs to be, sometimes those conversations become much harder to have than what they would otherwise be. At the same time, people sometimes don't take others too seriously. If changes are made and we don't like the sound of those changes, we just don't do it because we think the rules perhaps don't even apply to us. They apply maybe to everybody else. And there tends to be, oftentimes we observe a situation where folks then start to push the boundaries in terms of their commitment to the firm, in terms of hours worked as an example, effort contributed. Oftentimes we hear shareholders say things like, we've been too nice and I think people don't take us seriously, or we have a really hard time discussing performance. Folks don't listen to us. Well, that's not a great situation to be in. So you want to think about how you can kind of create more of an equilibrium in the culture. I'm not suggesting that warm, family-like environment is not a healthy place for a workplace. I think it can be. However, we need some balance. So have a think about if you're in this situation, there are a few things you can do to solve it. Firstly, consider bringing in external dedicated management that's not part of sort of family, long-term friends type clique, that can help to bring some more discipline around the way the firm is managed. Now, you've got to be careful when you do this. You don't want to blow things up. You just want to bring in people who have more of an arm's length, unemotional perspective on the business, who can do a little more to sort of try to drive change in a way and get people on board kind of differently to how you've done it in the past. The other thing you might need to do is actually have external consultants come in to help provide advice and guidance on the changes, and sometimes be an external voice that others might actually pay more attention to just by virtue of being an external voice with some industry expertise, of course. But sometimes we get a little bit complacent working and listening to the people that are around us, and it can be helpful to have an external voice. Also, be really routine with your meetings and set expectations and repeat expectations. You're going to have to kind of do that a little bit more so in a sort of a family-like culture where you're trying to encourage maybe a higher standard of professionalism, perhaps a higher level of effort at times than what maybe you've experienced in the past.